Welcome to the Yeshua channel. I'm so excited you're joining me today, here in March 2025, as we unravel one of the most captivating mysteries from the ancient world, the story of the Queen of Sheba. Her tale is one that's slipped under the radar for so many, yet it's brimming with intrigue and unanswered questions. Who was this enigmatic queen? What kingdom did she command? Where did her journey begin? And what compelled her to seek out King Solomon, the wise ruler of Israel? What unfolded between them during their legendary encounter? I'm going to guide you through her story, step by step, piecing together her origins, the land she might have ruled, and the profound connection she forged with Solomon. This is a deep dive into history, scripture, and legend, so get comfortable, soak it all in, and please leave your likes, share your thoughts in the comments, and hit that subscribe button for more content on the Yeshua channel. Let's begin. The Queen of Sheba strides onto the stage of history as a figure both grand and elusive. In ancient Hebrew and Phoenician texts, she's called Malat Spa, in Arabic Malakat Speba, and in Ethiopia's Ge'ez language Nijist Saba. Her story first flickers to life in the Hebrew Bible, nestled in the first book of Kings, chapter 10, and the second book of Chronicles, chapter 9. Imagine the scene. A regal queen sweeps into Jerusalem, her caravan stretching far into the distance, a procession of camels groaning under the weight of treasures. Gold, spices in quantities beyond imagining, and precious stones that gleam in the sun. She's come to meet King Solomon, Israel's renowned monarch, a man whose wisdom and wealth are the talk of the ancient world. The Bible tells us in 1 Kings 10:3-2 that never again came such an abundance of spices, a line that paints her as a ruler of extraordinary means. But this brief snapshot is just the beginning. Her story explodes into a tapestry of legends, woven through Jewish, Islamic, Yemeni, and Ethiopian traditions, making her one of the most celebrated and fertile figures in the folklore of Western Asia and Eastern Africa. What's fascinating, and a little frustrating, is that the Bible never gives us her personal name. She's simply the Queen of Sheba, a title that cloaks her in mystery. She arrives in Jerusalem with a vast entourage, not just to shower Solomon with gifts, but to test him with hard questions or riddles. Solomon, gifted with wisdom straight from God, unravels her challenges with ease, leaving her speechless. As 1 Kings 10:3-5 captures it, there was no more spirit in her, a poetic way of saying she was utterly floored by his intellect, his palace, his kingdom's splendor. They exchange gifts, a lavish display of mutual admiration, and then she turns back to her homeland. That word, riddles, from the Hebrew chidot, carries an Aramaic echo, a linguistic clue that some scholars say points to the text being finalized centuries later, around the 6th century BC. It's a tiny detail, but it whispers to us that her story grew and shifted over time, shaped by the hands that passed it down. So, who was she? Really, where did she come from? The name, Faba or Saba, anchors us to a kingdom that dazzled the classical world, often dubbed Arabia Felix, or Happy Arabia by the Romans. This was a land of riches and wonder, rooted in what we now call Yemen. By the mid-1st millennium BC, the Sabeans, a Semitic people, held sway here. Their prosperity built on a trade empire of frankincense, myrrh, and spices that perfumed the air from South Arabia to the Mediterranean. Their capital, Marib, was a jewel in the desert, sustained by the colossal Marib Dam, a marvel of ancient engineering that turned arid sands into lush fields. Around the 10th century BC, the time of Solomon's reign, roughly 970 to 930 BC, the Sabeans were already threading camel caravans through the wilderness, linking their world to Mesopotamia, the Levant, and beyond. Could this be her Sheba, a queen from Yemen, stepping out of a thriving civilization to meet Israel's king in a grand gesture of diplomacy? But hold on, the plot thickens. The Bible doesn't give us just one Sheba. Flip back to Genesis 10, and you'll find two. There's a Sheba descended from Ham, one of Noah's sons, tied to the Cushite peoples of East Africa, modern-day Ethiopia, Eritrea, and parts of Sudan. Then there's a Sheba from Shem's lineage, another of Noah's sons, linked to the Semitic tribes of South Arabia, particularly Yemen. Two Shebas, two possibilities, and a debate that's raged for centuries. Was she a Sabean queen from Yemen, her visit a calculated move to secure trade alliances with Israel, a rising power? Or was she a Cushite queen from Ethiopia, her journey the seed of a legacy that would define a nation? Some even whisper a third theory. What if her kingdom spanned both, a bridge between Arabia and Africa, blending cultures and commerce in a way we've yet to fully grasp? Let's linger in Yemen for a moment. The Sabeans were no small players. They were masters of their domain. By the early 10th century BC, they were shipping wood, spices, and incense to Mesopotamia, their caravans cutting paths through the desert. Archaeological digs have unearthed their world. Temples carved with intricate reliefs, inscriptions in a flowing South Arabian script, and the ruins of Marib, where the dam's remnants still stand as a testament to their ingenuity. Scholars like Kenneth Kitchen argue her visit to Solomon was a trade mission, a high-stakes negotiation masked as a personal quest. There's a tantalizing clue in a 10th century BC ostracon, a pottery shard found in Jerusalem, scratched with a South Arabian script. If it's genuine, it hints at commercial ties between Judah and Sheba, suggesting her caravan was more than a spectacle. It was a statement of economic might. Picture her standing before Solomon. Her gifts a down payment on a partnership that could reshape the region's trade networks. Now, let's cross the Red Sea to Ethiopia. Here, her story shifts into a different gear, carried by the Kebra Nagast, or Glory of Kings, an Ethiopian epic compiled in the 14th century but rooted in traditions far older. In this telling, she's Makeda, a queen of Ethiopia, daughter of a warrior who slew the serpent King Arwe, a shadowy figure in local mythology. She journeys to Solomon, and their meeting sparks more than diplomacy. It ignites a romance. The text claims Solomon, captivated by her beauty and brilliance, tricks her into sharing his bed, and she returns home bearing his son, Menelik I. This child, they say, brought the Ark of the Covenant to Ethiopia, founding the Solomonic dynasty, a lineage that stretched into the 20th century with Emperor Haile Selassie. The Aksumite kingdom, Ethiopia's historical giant, rose later from the 1st century AD, but the Kebra Nagast insists she ruled an earlier Sheba, her story a cornerstone of Ethiopian identity. The argument over her homeland is a tug of war. Yemenists call her Bilqis, a name woven into their folklore and tied to ancient temples. Ethiopians name her Makeda, a queen of divine purpose. Some scholars, like Edward Ullendorf, suggest her name might echo Kandake, a title for Nubian queens, hinting at a broader African connection. Was she Semitic or Cushite? Arabian or African? the Bible stays silent, and history hasn't handed us a clear answer. But let's step into her visit to Solomon. It's the heartbeat of her tale, where the threads of legend and truth tangle most vividly. Picture Jerusalem in Solomon's golden age, a city alive with the hum of construction and commerce. The temple's foundations are rising, a monument to God's covenant. Into this bustling capital strides the Queen of Sheba, her caravan a river of wealth flowing through the gates. She's not here to gawk. She's come with a purpose. 1 Kings 10:1 says she tested Solomon with hard questions, a phrase that sets the imagination ablaze. What did she ask? Jewish tradition, like the Targum Shini, spins tales of clever riddles, separating boys from girls disguised in identical clothes, or distinguishing real flowers from crafted ones without touching them. Solomon, with wisdom granted in 1 Kings 3-12, cracks each puzzle, his answer sharp as a blade. She's stunned, not just by his mind, but by the world he's built. The temples gleam, the courts teeming with advisors, the air rich with the scent of her own spices, now mingle with Israel's incense. Their exchange is a dance of equals. She offers 120 talents of gold, around 4 tons, a fortune that could ransom kings, plus spices and gemstones that shimmer like stars. Solomon matches her, showering her with gifts that rival her own. The Bible keeps it formal, a meeting of minds, a trade of treasures. But the Kebra Nagas dares to dream bigger. It says Solomon, smitten by her grace, offered her anything she desired, then tricked her into his bed by seasoning her food with salt, leaving her parched. She drank from his cup, breaking a vow, and Menelik was conceived. She returned to Ethiopia, her womb carrying a new dynasty. Islamic tradition in Surah 27 of the Quran paints a different portrait. Here, she's Bilqis, a queen of wit and power, drawn to Jerusalem to test Solomon's fame. She arrives to find a palace so dazzling she mistakes its glass floor for water, lifting her skirts in a moment of human vulnerability. Solomon gently corrects her, and she's awed. Recognizing his wisdom as a gift from God, she submits to the divine, her visit a turning point of faith. These versions clash and blend. Diplomacy, romance, revelation, but they agree on her impact. She leaves Jerusalem changed, her name rippling through time. Jesus himself nods to her in Matthew 12:42 and Luke 11:31, calling her the Queen of the South, a seeker who traveled far for wisdom, a hint she hailed from a southern realm, Arabia or Ethiopia. 1st century historian Flavius Josephus chimes in, naming her Nicholas or Makeda, ruler of Egypt and Ethiopia. He ties her to Meroe in Sudan, perhaps mixing her with later Nubian queens like the Kandakes. Her story straddles history and myth, a challenge to pin down. What does the evidence say? If she lived in Solomon's era, her kingdom was a peer of Israel's peak. In Yemen, the Sabean civilization aligns perfectly. The Owam temple near Marib, called Maram Bilqis in folklore, reveals a society of rituals and riches, its inscriptions praising gods like Athtar and Al-Muqah. The Barn Temple, or Bilqis, throne of Bilqis, stands nearby, its ruins whispering of a lost past. No text names her, but the trade networks, spices, gold, caravans, fit the biblical frame. That Jerusalem ostrakhan, if real, ties Judah to South Arabia, bolstering the trade theory. In Ethiopia, Axum shines later, but the Kebra Nagast claims an earlier Sheba, with Menelik spearheading the ark to Axum's Church of St. Mary of Zion, a relic still guarded, unproven by archaeology. her legacy sprawls beyond facts into meaning. In Jewish lore, she's a foil to Solomon's brilliance, a seeker of truth. In Christianity, she's a Gentile glimpsing God's plan. In Islam, she's Bilqis, humbled by divine order. In Ethiopia, she's Makeda, mother of a royal line. Her name shifts. Bilqis, Makeda, perhaps a lost original, but her essence holds. A woman of power, curiosity, and grace. Some tie Makeda to Candace, like the queen in Acts 827, whose eunuch met Philip. Could she be a fusion of rulers, her story a mosaic of memory? Her encounter with Solomon is a crossroads. South meets north, east meets west, a clash of worlds united by wonder. Did she embrace Judaism, as some insist, or simply marvel at Solomon's faith? Her caravan links distant lands, her questions echo across centuries. She's a symbol of the human drive to know, to connect, to transcend. In Yemen, she's tied to temples and trade, and in Ethiopia, she's the root of a dynasty. In Scripture, she's a testament to wisdom's reach. Where does this leave us? The Queen of Sheba is a riddle without a final answer. Was she a Sabean queen from Yemen, an Ethiopian monarch, or a ruler spanning both? Did she seek trade, love, or enlightenment from Solomon? History teases us with clues. The ostracon, the temples, the legends, but holds back the full truth. That's her magic. She invites us to wonder, to search, to dream. I've loved walking this path with you, and I hope it's stirred your curiosity too. What do you think? Where was her kingdom? What drew her to Jerusalem? Drop your ideas in the comments, give this a like, and subscribe to Yeshua for more journeys into the past. Tell me who or what you'd like me to explore next. Until then, God bless, and I'll